So Vice President Vance decided to hop on national TV and say,
to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity.
And honestly, that line deserves a facepalm so hard it echoes in diplomatic offices around the world.
China needs to make a deal with us. We don't have to make a deal with them. There's no difference between China and any other country except they are much larger.
Nowadays, a lot of good stuff is made in China. Everybody knows it, right? But somehow in other places, things made in China end up costing more. I don't know why. I don't know who did it, but frankly speaking, it's a little messed up. It's a little messed up. That is why today I've come to the very source of Chinese production. Shenzhen, look at this. Look at this building, look at the streets, look at the vibe, look at the people. I love it. So powerful, so energetic, so clean. I love it so much.
First off, peasants? Really, what century are we in? That word alone sounds like he's stuck in a medieval video game, not running part of a 21st century superpower.
Mr. Vance, you called Chinese people peasants. Let me tell you what that word means to us. In China, a peasant is someone who works the land with their hands, feeds a family through hard work, and lives with values like honesty, loyalty, and kindness. Maybe we didn't have a chance to go to top schools, but don't confuse lack of opportunity with lack of intelligence. Because when we do get the chance, we become the ones building your AI chips in Silicon Valley, leading global tech companies and pushing the edge of innovation. While you are busy labeling us, we are busy building high-speed trains, world-leading 5G networks, and space programs that make headlines around the world. You used an outdated word with an outdated mindset to describe a country you clearly don't understand. And here's the twist. The peasants you mock, they are also one of your biggest creditors. China holds a big chunk of US debt, so yeah, the peasants you took down too, you actually owe them. So the next time before you speak, ask yourself this: what kind of leader mocks people for being hardworking and honest? Isn't that more of a reflection on you than on them? In our culture, peasant means roots, the strong roots that hold up a nation reaching for the stars.
Chinese citizens, many of whom are engineers, designers and business owners, aren't sitting in rice fields bartering goats. They're building electric cars, dominating tech, and shipping out half the stuff in your Amazon cart.
According to his math, American prosperity equals to borrowing from Chinese peasant plus buying from Chinese peasant plus insulting Chinese peasant. Truly Nobel Prize-worthy accounting. When American politicians were busy perfecting this borrowed insult repeat cycle, those Chinese peasants somehow built the world's fastest bullet train network while Amtrak derails in slow motion. Created 5G networks while DC couldn't even get Wi-Fi in the Capitol basement. Went from zero space capability to Tiangong Station while NASA begs for rides from Elon Musk. Funny how these simple Chinese farmers now feed America's Walmart shelves, power your iPhones, and finance your government's shutdowns. Perhaps the vice president missed history class where China invented paper money when Europe was still trading sheep, built the Silk Road while Columbus was still lost, had the centralized government when Washington was still a swamp. Bracket, some things never change. Meanwhile, Americans' expansion plan looks like a McDonald's menu. Number 1, pick Mexican's land. Number 2, add Puerto Rico. Number 3, supersize with Greenland. Number 4, freedom fries with Canada. In conclusion, the Chinese peasants you insult are the same people keeping your lights on, your stocks stopped, your treasury alone. Maybe it is time to put down the manifest, designate playbook, and pick up a calculator.
Now, I get that he was trying to make a point about trade and manufacturing, but there are so many better ways to say it without sounding like he just insulted over 1 billion people. If you're trying to look tough on China, maybe don't start by casually disrespecting their workforce on national TV. That's not diplomacy. That's international smack talk with zero strategy.
If jdvance thinks that he's dealing with the peasants in China, and I'm proud to be a descendant of the peasants, most of us are descendants of the peasants anyway, that's our tradition. We are farmers before, but now we are one of the leading industrialized economies in the world. So I'm sorry, jdvance doesn't know what he's talking about. And therefore, I don't think there will be China-US dialogue unless the United States changes its attitude towards China. Deal with China as it is. Show respect to China, show respect to the Chinese people, and don't try to impose your prejudice and biased view about China or about the rest of the world. We will not buy that kind of prejudice or discrimination from the United States. No, we will never buy that story.
And here's the kicker. Vance himself came from a working class background. You'd think that would give him a little more empathy, maybe even some respect for people working hard to improve their lives. Instead, he pulled out the kind of language that feels like it came from a bad history textbook.
The Vice President of the United States called me a peasant. At first I was confused because in China the word peasant or farmer is not a derogatory term. On the contrary, it is a highly respected profession. You could even say that agriculture is the very foundation of our nation. One of the most respected figures is Yuan Nongping, whose hybrid rice technology solved the food problem for 1.4 billion people in China. Farming is in our DNA. When we brought back soil samples from the far side of the moon, the first question people asked was whether we could grow crops in it. Thanks to this, Chinese people now have access to a wide variety of fresh and affordable vegetables. It was only later that I realized that in the United States, peasant is used as an insult, and a person saying it clearly didn't mean well. It reminds me there was once a second-generation Syrian immigrant born in the UK who mocked our leader in front of me for coming from a farming background. He said his country's leader all came from elite universities or noble families. But what he didn't know is that in China, we have an old saying, 王侯将相宁有种乎? Are kings and nobles born to be so? And another, 英雄不问出处. A true hero is not judged by where he comes from. This means that greatness isn't determined by birth or background. Likewise, wearing fancy clothes doesn't make someone great. Arrogance and ignorance only reveal a petty soul. Yeah, the word peasant does not insult China, nor the hardworking Chinese people. It only insults the character of the one who said it, and the road himself came from.
Bottom line, words matter, especially when you're the vice president of a country that's constantly trying to walk the fine line between cooperation and competition with China. Instead of tossing out one-liners that sound like rejected fortune cookie messages, maybe our leaders should focus on policy and leave the peasant talk in the past where it belongs.